It's 28 degrees in Jacksonville, Florida. It's 15 in Oldham, England, 14 in Galway in Ireland. This is Teal Talk. I'm Jay Lawrence. As far as I know, still no relation. He's Key Ramsuran, and this is Teal Talk, the official podcast for the UK and Ireland, for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Key, how are you? Are you all right?
I'm fine. Whatever. Move on. No, how are you, mate? I'm good.
I was like, am I missing something? No, I'm fine. I'm actually, it's going to be, this is a bumper episode. I thought that the last couple weeks would be considered bumper episodes because obviously, you know, we've been in, you know, Tottenham Hotspur, and then we've been at Wembley Stadium as well. But this is a bumper episode because we are joined from Duval County by Jaguars wide receiver Parker Washington, who's suddenly a very important member of the Jaguars squad, actually. And as you know, at Wembley Stadium had a ridiculously memorable moment, if not the moment of the entire, maybe even the moment of the entire London Games. Potentially.
Arguably, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Not just him. Rees-Zammit, the former Welsh Rugby international, also joins us to talk about his progress with the Jaguars since, you know, switching sports. It's been massive news here in the UK, hasn't it? Rees-Zammit, who's a big rugby star, was a big rugby star, taking that leap to American football. We have our fan of the week with the big question, and looking ahead to the trip to Philadelphia as well this weekend. We do need to talk about the game at the weekend, of course, that has just passed, the Green Bay Packers game. Jags lose 30-27. I think that this is a really weird game to look at. And if it was earlier in the season, I would be saying there's a lot of positives to take from this. Adversity, coming out of it, looking like it was going to be with all these, receivers that go down, we'll get onto that in a second, looks like it was going to be a bad victory, getting back into it, but then, almost a case of this in this game, who had the ball last. However, there's also the other side of me that says it's literally just about wins and losses right now, Key.
Yeah, it's about finishing. And at the moment, they're not finishing, and that is tough. But like you say, dude, do you know what? I've got to a point in this season where I think losses are tough. Of course, losses are tough, but I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to look at the fact that this team is doing some really good stuff. I think there's one big problem that I'm very happy to talk about, but overall, I saw a lot of positive stuff on Sunday that I didn't necessarily see against the Bears, and I didn't necessarily see against the Bills. This loss was not the same as those other losses because there was a lot more positive stuff. If you can keep that positive stuff coming and then fix the other negative stuff that's happening, there's a lot more to look forward to. It wasn't as bad as the Bills and the Bears, and that's what I'm taking from it.
Yeah.
Mate.
Yeah, and I mean, I mentioned the injuries there to the receivers, and also we'll get onto it with Parker Washington in a little bit. Brian Thomas Jr. Went out with a rib issue. Gabe Davis, shoulder issue. Christian Kirk is now out for the season with I think it's a broken collarbone, I believe.
Yeah.
Just from the receiving core, we're going to have to see so many Jags players step up, really.
Which they did, though, Jay.
They did, and that was what was really impressive,
on that final
wasn't it?
drive,
yeah,
that
100%.
was incredible. I want to talk about head coach Doug Peterson's comments in a second, right? But that drive where Trevor took him however many yards it was, 87 yards or whatever, without his main receivers in the game, everyone stepping up, O-line stepping up, receiver stepping up, Trevor stepping up. It can be done. The talent is there. The attitude is there. For me, what's been lacking is, and I'm not a professional sports psychologist, as you know, Jay, but what's been lacking is positive attitude clicking at all times, in all three phases. Special teams have been performing really well. At times this season, the defense has performed really well and they've had a positive attitude. At times, the offense has performed well and had a positive attitude. All three phases haven't clicked at the same time, and adversity has been the thing for me. When the defense has been playing well, it's only taken a small thing and it crumbles. I think if you can address that and fix that and stop... Like, I watch a lot of snooker, right? And they call it peacocking. When a snooker player walks around the table with their chest out and they're owning the table. Sometimes you see that with the Jacksonville Jaguars, but you don't see it all the time.
You want to see Trevor Lawrence peacocking down the sideline?
I want to see them all peacocking, mate. Whether they're playing well or not, I want to see them peacocking all over the field.
Peacocking everywhere.
Peacocking everywhere. I think it makes a massive difference. Like the psychological and emotional element of the game is, for me, when I watch this team, that's where it's falling down. And I think if they can address that, which they have at times, they've addressed it at certain times with the offense, at certain times with the defense. If all three phases get that, I think the talent's there, man. The talent's there.
I think in a weird way, this is I don't know if devastating is the right word, but it would almost be easier in a way if it was just a really bad performance, like in all three phases, as you say, for the entire game. But because it wasn't, because they battled twice really to get back into the game.
They were like 10 down twice in the game, I think.
Yeah, and to get back into it, it's. It kind of feels like, not the world's against you a little bit, but it's just like you just can't, doesn't seem to quite get there.
I get that, and I get that a lot of fans are frustrated and all of that, but I personally think watching the performance against the Bears or watching the performance against the Bills where nothing happened, that for me is worse. This week, I can take that, man. Yeah, it's slightly frustrating. They didn't finish. That came down to the wire. They could have won it. But there was stuff there to take from it. That, for me, is more uplifting than just getting trounced by the Bears.
Can I say as well, and to be honest, I'm not sick of it, but like I do feel I heard the phrase National Tight End Day an awful lot on Sunday. It was just like, it was always, everyone was going on about it. Anyway, but I do have to mention the fact that
it was worse if you were watching Red Zone. Because if you were watching Red Zone, it was literally every game we'd mention.
But I do have to mention, actually, two tight ends actually for the Jaguars. Brenton Strange is someone that I do think has stepped up, and I have been enjoying watching him play, blocking as well. And Evan Ingram, he's returned, and yes, there wasn't a win today. We did get a very good touchdown, though. What a catch!
That triple coverage catch, that was. Evan, all the way this week and in the Wembley game as well. He's been. I'm so glad he's back and come back strong as well, because boy, do we need him right now.
100%. Speaking of pass catchers, let's head over to Duval County, shall we? Where I caught up with Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Parker Washington. Parker Washington, thank you so much for joining Teal Talk. How's it going?
Hey, going good.
First off, got to talk about the loss to the Packers. Got to touch on that. This one, more than most, seemed like it was a tough battle that you might have come out of it thinking we easily could have done that.
Definitely.
What do you think?
Definitely. It's any given Sunday in the NFL. We definitely wanted to get that win. It was definitely an opportunity for us. Tough loss, but we got to keep going. Like I said, we can't get it back, but we definitely want it back.
From like a receiving corps perspective as well, I mean, it was tough, wasn't it? Gabe Davis goes out, Brian Thomas Jr. having an MRI, Christian Kirk out for the season with a broken collarbone. Have you had a chance to speak to any of those guys?
I haven't got a chance to talk to Kirk yet, but definitely saw Gabe and BT. So got a chance to just catch up with those guys, see how they were doing. Looking good. It's tough being in the NFL because you don't know when your number may be called or when someone may go down. But that's just why you have to continue to prepare and practice like a starter and be ready, because we were down to 2 receivers in the fourth quarter, and that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, that is tough, isn't it? I mean, from your perspective as well, going into, when you've got these players out injured, next man up scenario for you, I mean, it's even more potential targets for you, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. That's why you continue to prepare so your teammates trust you, your coaches trust you to be able to run those routes that you may have not got in practice. So it was big time to be able to make a couple plays. But like I said, we still wanted to get that win at the end of the day.
Look, obviously, we got to talk London. I mean, you can tell from my accent, I'm still at Wembley Stadium in my mind, man. I'm still at Wembley Stadium. Actually, you know what? Let's talk Bears game first, because you weren't just playing Chicago. You were playing your sister, weren't you? Ashton Washington. She works for the Chicago Bears, doesn't she? The player personnel coordinator, I believe, for the Bears.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, tell me what it was like. Tell me what you were like texting each other like before and after the game.
And I'm real close with my sister. We talk a lot, before every game. But she was like, "We definitely want to win, but I want you to do your thing." So she always rooted me on, supported me. Real thankful and grateful to have her as my sister. She does a good job. She works hard. But that was an exciting moment to be able to play against her and have that experience.
Did you speak much after it? Did she give you any like, rub it in a little bit or anything that the Bears got the win?
Nothing crazy. She was big sister at that point, wanted to make sure I was all good.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice, man. That is nice. And then obviously the next game was that Wembley game. I mean, are you still on a high from that huge 97-yard punt return touchdown?
I mean, just I feel like my confidence went up just as a returner, and still have a lot of learning to do. But that was a great experience. I'll never forget that moment, and I just want to continue to chase a moment like that again.
Yeah, oh, 100%. I mean, talk to me about that celebration as well, because, I'm there in the stands, I'm watching it. I'm hyped that you're about to score a touchdown. And then I'm almost like cracking up watching that celebration as well. What was it just in the moment?
It was definitely in the moment. I thought about doing something like that, but it's like you have to have the perfect scenario,
Yeah, for sure.
situation, uh, free room to be able to do it. So it's just instinct at that point when it was just like, oh, this is the perfect time. And when I was able to do it, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
And I heard you kind of predicted it as well. Like in the days before, you were saying, you know what, I got a feeling I'm going to get this, this touchdown, this punt return touchdown.
Definitely. Just talking with my teammates and coaches, I was just like, I feel like just my only like dream, like my goal is just to score a returning touchdown. Really, just like a punt return touchdown. And for that to happen, it was just an amazing moment. And it just goes to say that just continue to work, continue to learn and grow, and stay ready for the opportunity when it presents itself.
I'm presuming you've heard about this already, but it's the record for the longest touchdown in London history, as well as the longest punt return touchdown in Jags history. I mean, that's got to be an incredible feeling, man.
Oh, it was amazing. And just like I said, I just asked for a punt return touchdown. I
Yeah,
didn't say
yeah.
let's have any records too. So just seeing that, I'm just humble and just grateful for that opportunity. Special moment, won't forget it. But like I said, I want to get another moment like that and maybe get another punt return touchdown and just make plays for our team.
Now, talk to me about what you felt it was like then playing, playing in London over the last couple weeks. But were you, pleased with the reaction from the Jags fans throughout that time?
Oh, it's great. It's wonderful. I enjoy this is my second year going.
Mm.
I enjoyed it, and it's a great experience. Nothing like it. Like I said, I love going to Wembley, especially that's my favorite. Um, it was just fun, and then just being able to make a play this year as well, it was just special to me. And then having my family there as well, that was big time. So it's just a special experience. That you only it's like living that is just amazing, and I'm excited to go back as long as I'm here with the Jag.
I mean, I like, that's such a big moment. And I know I keep going on about it, but it was such a big moment in that game. And for so many people, in this country who maybe are just getting into the sport, that's the moment that they're going to remember, that's the moment that they became fans of the NFL, that they became Jags fans. So I know I keep going on about it, but there's a reason, man, because these are the moments which stick in people's heads in a country that obviously where soccer is king,
Yeah,
so they get into the sport and it's moments like that that do it. So I think that's kind of cool.
no,
Um, I've just got one more question, because we're going to look ahead to the Eagles next. We've spoken about the injuries to, the receiving core. What do the Jags need to do to get that win in Philly?
we just have to put together another good week. We had a pretty good. We had a honestly we had a great week going into the Packers. We fell short, but I feel like we're not losing our confidence through this loss that we just had, and we believe. I feel like we came together well in London as well, and like I said, we just got to keep building on that and keep believing in each other to go out there and execute. And it's another tough game, and we're going away, but I feel like we're ready for it. And like I said, we just gotta not hurt ourselves in the game, have fun, and I feel like we'll get the side that we want to get on.
So while you're in London, Parker, just tell me, what you got up to. I mean, presuming you got to see the city a bit.
Definitely. And then before that, I mean, I was trying to work on my golf game as well. So
Nice.
I had two tee times throughout the time I was there. And then on the flip side, I was with my mom, my family, got a chance to experience London, and it was amazing. Shopped a little bit, had some great food, and I enjoyed it. I mean, they love it. My family, they make it like a family trip each year.
Oh man.
So this is their second time, and they love it. And they want to move there.
Oh, really? You know what? I mean, I said this. I've had conversations with a bunch of your teammates over the last couple of weeks, and I always say I don't know why this is an NFL podcast, but we always seem to talk about food. But I need to ask you what your favorite. Did you try like particular like British food when you were over here?
Not like I don't see it. This is where it's gonna be tough because I don't know exactly what I was having, but I just know it was good.
It was good.
And,
It was
and
good.
then if I say my mom was on here with me, she would be able to tell you exactly what we had. But I usually just follow with my mom, whatever she tries. We pretty much eat the same food, so whatever she orders for us,
You just
I,
go with it.
I go with
You just
it.
go with it. Thanks, man. Thank you so much for talking. Appreciate that.
Appreciate y'all.
Parker Washington there, the man of the moment, I suppose, for the Jacksonville Jaguars, at least here in the UK and Ireland. And I do kind of, I do stand by my point there that he, first of all, very nice man. Second of all, that punt return touchdown, that will be etched into the brains of so many people, so many new NFL fans here in the UK and Ireland. I honestly do think that that's going to be, in 5 years, 10 years' time, people are going to look back and be like, yeah, I support the Jaguars because I saw this key.
It was the second greatest moment of that Wembley game. Yeah, it was really, really great.
What was the first greatest moment?
I don't know if you knew, there was a guy at the beginning that did the Duval that was just, it was so moving and emotional and brought a tear to wherever it would bring a tear to.
Do you know what? Let's see if I can. Let's get this on the podcast. I'll send the audio over to our producer, and hopefully I can put a video on there, and we can get it on, and we can listen to it. And also, I want to point out as well that I didn't bring this up this week. It was Key. It was Key that brought it up this week.
You can pay me that tenner later, mate.
Amazing moment, though. I mean, we spoke about it last week, so I can't keep going on about it. But amazing moment. I did love it. I did get someone from school messaging me that I've not seen in 15 years who was at the game. Anyway,
oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, it was a nice moment. We've spoken to Parker Washington, but let's move on to someone who was, I suppose, in demand actually when the Jaguars came over here to the UK and Ireland. A Welsh rugby star, played in the World Cup, played for the Lions as well, but gave it all up to chase his American football dream. Let's hear from my conversation with Jags receiver Rees-Zammit. Okay, let's welcome Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Rees-Zammit to the podcast. Lewis, let's just actually really quickly start. Let's look back like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. How weird is that sentence? Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Rees-Zammit.
I mean, never in a million years would I think I'd be saying that. But now we're here. I'm rolling with it, and I'm absolutely buzzing to be here.
Was this like the plan for like a long time? Was it like when you were a kid? I know your dad. He was massively into American football. Was it just always in the back of your mind you wanted to be?
Oh, it was always in the back of my mind. I try and watch as many games as possible and all that kind of stuff over here. And I knew that, the sport I was best at over here was rugby. There wasn't, back when, I started playing rugby and the journey I was on, there wasn't really too much opportunity to play American football. Now there is, which is amazing for everyone that can do that. But, I thought the time in this year to, kind of kick on and try and make this dream a reality was the perfect time.
And since then, I mean, to be fair, I think the weirdest thing that I think I've seen over the last week, to be fair, is you meeting Prince William. I mean, you met NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. That's cool.
Yeah.
But like, it's a bit weird, isn't it? Like Prince William throwing in American football with Prince William. Did you have to like look around and be like, what's going on right now?
I mean, it was pretty cool. I've met him a couple times after a few rugby games, so I know he's a massive rugby fan and he's a big Welsh fan. So after a few games, after one of the Rugby World Cup games last year, he turned up to a changing room and congratulated us and stuff like that. So I kind of met him a couple times before that. But yeah, it was crazy to see him trying to throw in American football and stuff like that.
Was he decent?
He was good.
I mean, he looks. Good. I mean, I had a look when he threw it. He looked to me like a wily veteran quarterback, like just waiting for that one last run that he could make it.
He said to me that he played water polo or something when he was younger. So he said the spiral was pretty natural to him.
All right.
So I don't know how that has.
What's that logic? Yeah.
That he could throw a ball. But yeah, he had a pretty good arm on him.
Did you teach him then?
I didn't teach him.
Oh, you didn't teach him?
Phoebe taught him.
Yeah.
I mean, said a couple things and then he just did it first time and it was like, wow, he's pretty good.
Credit to him.
Yeah.
Credit to him. Talk to me about what it's like being in that wide receiver room at the moment then. You've got Christian Kirk, you've got Gabe Davis. You know, Brian Thomas Jr. obviously coming in for the first time this year. How is it for you and how is it, you know, just being around all these people that have obviously been, you know, playing the sport a lot longer than you have?
I mean, it's great for me because I get to, you know, lean on their shoulders and ask questions, just watch them day in, day out and, you know, how they, you know, approach the game, you know, how they train, how they run routes, there's so much I can learn from them.
Is it completely different to what you were used to? Is there anything that shocked you going into like your first practice?
I mean, yeah, everything, because I've never really played wide receiver, so pretty much everything. But, you know, those players are unbelievable. And, you know, Brian Thomas Jr. is obviously just starting his career and he's got 3 touchdowns already in the NFL. So that's pretty crazy. But being able to, you know, see those boys train day in, day out and just be able to pick a bit of detail from all of their games is just, you know, it just helps me learn so much quicker.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll pick up on that actually because you are not only six weeks into your Jaguars career, you're 6 weeks into your career as a wide receiver. So, I mean, the goal for you, I imagine, is to learn everything as soon as possible. If you look back to like week 1, can you see that jump for you personally, like how much you've learned and how much you can see that on the field?
Definitely. Even like releases off a line and just route running. There's so much difference you can see from week 1 to week 6, but I just gotta keep going and keep learning every day and keep getting better. And that's the main thing. If I keep getting better every day, then, you know, I'll be able to, you know, progress nicely. And, you know, the more I can pick the brains of my teammates and coaches, then the better I'm going to get.
Obviously, the Jacksonville Jaguars over in the UK for a couple of weeks. Were you excited to come back or were you like, I've literally just left? I'm literally just left. I'm moving to the US.
I mean, I was excited to come back to be able to see family and friends. Yeah. I mean, the weather. The weather's not great over here, but the past couple of days has actually been... I think I might have brought the weather with me a little bit.
All right. Okay.
I mean, I know it was raining when I was speaking to my family that were here the week before we flew out, but it's quite a nice day today.
So what have you been up to then? Like, I mean, obviously you got practice, you got everything Jaguars related. Have you been able to do anything, you know, anything fun while you've been out here? Not that this isn't fun, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. We've gone shopping into central London. All the boys have been doing that. We've had lunch there. You know, they've kind of gone on a tour and just explored the city, and because some of these boys have, you know, never been outside the US, so it's great for them to be able to come over here and, you know, see what the culture's like, see what the food's like, the shopping. And I know the boys love shopping, so...
have you had to tell them, no, Wales is not... We're not in Wales right now.
I think they know that now. I think they know that. Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours away, so...
Well, we spoke to Cam Little on the podcast a few weeks ago, and he was so excited to come out here, because obviously he's a big... You probably bonded, I imagine, over Man United.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, and he said that you've been telling him places to go and to go get, like, a good, like, fish and chip, like, supper as it were.
Yeah.
What
to the
do you know if he's been? Yeah, Chippy. We called it the Chipper on the podcast. That was my reaction as well. That was exactly my reaction.
Yeah.
Have you been able to like go and go to the football, or like have you been able to experience some moments with him?
I think some of the boys are going to. I think Fulham are playing Villa this weekend, so some of the boys are going to go to that game. Some of the boys also came out here last year, and I think they went to like an Aston Villa training session or something like that. So some of them will be able to go to their first Premier League match this weekend, and they're really excited about that.
Whereas you're just old hand at this. It's just
I mean,
no big deal.
I've been to about 100 Man United games, so yeah. I mean, I wish I could go to another one, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it this weekend, unfortunately.
I also just want to touch quickly upon. I spoke to NFL UK General Manager Henry Hodgson over the last couple of weeks, and we're talking about the expansion of the international game, not just in the UK but around the world. And one thing that he said he would personally love, not that it's imminent, is for there to be more NFL games around the country. Yeah. I mean, like from your perspective, what would it mean to you if there was an NFL game in Wales at one point?
Yeah, I mean, that would be unbelievable, having one in the Principality Stadium where, I kind of grew up around the corner and played there a few times. That would mean a lot. I think, it's great to have games here in London. It's a big place for attraction, and everyone can kind of come to this city and watch games. But I mean, why not have one in Wales and have one in Ireland, and kind of just expand it a little bit more. It just allows the fans in the UK, wherever they live. There's a lot of Irish fans, I know that. So being able to have a game over there would be great. But yeah, as you said, I mean, it would be great to be able to expand the games outside of London.
Okay, one last question. We for an NFL podcast, we speak a lot about food, and I don't really know why. I think it's because we speak to lots of Jaguars players, and we speak to about what food would they like to bring over to the UK that they're going to miss, and a lot of it's like, I mean, we've had chicken and waffles, we've had like ranch and stuff like that. Has there been anything that you are food-wise you are in love with the US that you'd like to introduce to the UK? Or that you miss from the UK? Yeah,
I'd definitely say I'd miss Nando's from the UK.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I know Chick-fil-A, I'm pretty sure is open. There's one opening over in the UK here, so that would be nice. I mean, I like Chick-fil-A, but Nando's is definitely the one that I need to have in Florida.
That's funny.
I think there's a couple. There's one in like Chicago. There's a couple around America, but I think there's only like 4. There's a couple in Atlanta, I think, but there needs to be way more Nando's in the US because that is my favourite restaurant by far.
There we go. If you're not sponsored by Nando's, it's going to be coming
Nando's.
Soon. There we go. Where you at?
Yeah.
Cheers, man. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Thank you. Rees-Zammit, who I think it's fair to say had a heck of a couple of weeks being in the UK keep. Really nice bloke, actually. Really enjoyed having a conversation with him. Caught up with his brother as well, who lives with them out in Florida. And it's fair to say they are loving life in Jacksonville. And I know that he mentioned there, Key, that he'd casually, met the future King of England more than once because of his rugby connection as well. But just the idea of like being involved teaching Prince William how to throw a ball. I mean, that must be just, I can't even think about what that would be like.
And apparently he's 75th in line to the throne.
yeah, because of that. Because of that. I think did he get given a Jaguars jersey as well, Prince William? Did he give him a Jaguars jersey?
Yeah, so we can now claim Prince William as one of our own.
We can.
Which I think he'd be proud of too.
Every Sunday, Prince William, Buckingham Palace, sitting down, watching a Jags game.
He asked me for my Red Zone login the other day.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Really nice guy, though. Wish him the best of luck. And I think that's fair to say on behalf of like everybody from the UK and Ireland, especially Wales as well, that it is never going to be an easy transition to move from one sport to the next, Key. So that means that even if he is such a talent as he is, it means that he's essentially got the whole country behind him, which is kind of incredible when you think about it.
I mean, getting this far alone, absolutely incredible, and we're all rooting for the next step, man.
Okay, let's move on to the Duval Dispatches. The NFL is launching its International Fan of the Year competition this week, so if you think that you qualify, make sure you get yourself onto NFL.com to register. and let them
I
know
will,
what
Jay.
makes you
I
that.
will.
Well, I don't know about you, to be honest. NFL.com to register. And let them know, what makes you the best international Jags fan. This is a big deal as well. I want to be clear. This is a big deal, and it's such a massive like pat on the back. It's such a massive I think you can get people can get it stitched onto their jersey as well, saying that they're like international fan of the year. So this is a really cool thing to do. So if you think you register, if you think you qualify, if you consider yourself up there, head on over to NFL.com. Key. We have a TV show, don't we?
We do have a TV show hosted by Reese Parkinson.
Yes. And what is on it this week?
This week, all the usual stuff. So we're going to have highlights of the Packers game, analysis from JP and Reese, Tony Baselli looking forward to the Eagles game, but highlight of the episode for me, and honestly, tune in for this. Tank Bigsby mic'd up at Wembley. He had like 170-yard ground game. Him talking about and reacting to that is absolutely fantastic. Well worth tuning in for alone.
And when, Key?
We are on this Wednesday, 9 p.m, Sky Sports NFL, and then repeated throughout the week. And then after that, all of the bits will be up on the Jaguars UK YouTube channel.
Okay, let's move on to the big question. Okay, every week on Teal Talk, we get a fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars on from the UK and Ireland to give us the big question. This time around, hello, Christoph Capello. Christoph, what is your big question?
Hello. Why does this team constantly kick us in the nuts every single week?
Oh, man.
I'm sorry.
I don't know how to answer that. I've been a fan since 2013. Dude, I get it. Yeah, it feels like that. I think it's because they know how hardy we are and they know that we like an adventure. That's what I'm going to say.
It's the beauty of the NFL, and do you know what? It's the beauty of a team. Wouldn't it be boring? Let's be honest. I mean, it'd be great if it was a Super Bowl every year, but wouldn't it be boring if it was, 30-0 every single week? You need a little bit of drama in your life, Christoph. And this is supplying the drama.
Well, the drama is, the W at the end, not the big fat L that we always get.
I hear you. But, bro, how much better does it make 2017 season, 2022 season, when we have those other seasons in between? That's what I'm going with.
The nice seasons are nice, but if you're like myself, who's been a fan since the beginning, the long lulls of heartbreak and depression, they're hard to get over. It's just like, oh, come on, can we be competitive? We used to beg for competitive now, and now it's just like, please just win.
Yeah. Like the New England Patriots, they obviously went on a Super Bowl streak, or a couple different Super Bowl streaks, I suppose. But do you genuinely believe that, their fifth Super Bowl meant as much as the first? That first Super Bowl will always be the special one. So you got to go through, as much as I'm trying to look on
I don't know, Jay, but I'd like to find out.
All right, I think that's fair enough. I think that's a fair enough response there, I think. Christoph, tell us about how you became a Jags fan.
Well, I used to live in the States when I was a little kid or whatever. And I moved up to Jacksonville, and I had just started getting into American football. And the kids in the neighborhood, obviously you move into a neighborhood and the local kids all show up and they're like, want to know about you and stuff like that. And they were like, are you into football? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, do you have a team yet? And I was like, no, not really. And they're like, well, our city, Jacksonville, has just gotten a new team and we start up in like a year or two. And I was like, oh, wow. And they were all wearing their Jags gear and stuff like that already. So I got to be there for like the whole buildup of the city getting that team that first year. And then like the first couple years of them playing and stuff like that. And obviously it was just, I was a fan ever since. And then when I moved here in Easter of 97, I was like, you very rarely saw anyone wearing American football gear. It was hard to find it on TV and stuff like that. So I had to do like the whole like scratch and claw for any information about the NFL, like whatsoever. Like be it finding it on the internet at school. I remember there used to be an NFL magazine newspaper that they used to do that Neil Reynolds used to write for, and Mike Carlson used to write for. I think it was like an actual newspaper. I used to get that every week. And then
what's it been like? What's it been like for you then, mate? Like over the last decade or so, then to see the Jaguars make such an effort in the UK.
Oh, it was amazing. And ironically enough, last night, I think it's today actually, was the 11th year anniversary of the first ever Jags fan party before the game. The first one that they did outside the Hard Rock Cafe, at the bar behind the bar behind the Hard Rock, where we took over the entire street and stuff like that. And it was funny because the Jags used to do a digital show or whatever, and obviously they show shots from the game and stuff like that, and they show like images from the party, and you actually see me front and center in one of the shots of like I noticed the camera behind me and I'm like, hey, sort of thing. But
dude, that's so fun stuff. I was there. I wasn't a Jags fan yet, but so I've been a fan of the NFL since 2001, 2002. So when they started playing games over here, I would go to everything. I would go to all the games. I would go to all the parties, everything that I could get to. And I was at that Jags party that you're talking about there. That's so fun.
Oh, I was there. I was there. I was wearing a white Blaine Gabbert jersey at the time.
Amazing.
What's it called? I spoke to JP Shadrick and John Ogier, and they were completely blown away that someone that lives in England was watching their show and stuff like that. And then I was just talking to them, and I was speaking to some of the Jaguars media crew and stuff like that, like Dave DeCandis and Pete Cav and all them, and so I was talking to them. But it was so cool, speaking to people, and they're like completely blown away. Like there's this guy who lives in England who's a Jaguar fan and stuff like that. Because my first NFL game in London was the Broncos 49ers game. I think it was 2009 or 2010 or something like that. I can't remember the year it was, but my God, that was an awful game to watch.
Right. But now you get to see the Jaguars, multiple times a year over the last couple of years. So I mean, it's been quite fortunate for you, I suppose.
Oh yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've done every.
You don't sound sure when you say that. It's like you're trying to convince yourself.
Some of obviously some of the early games, like that 49er game and that Cowboy game were, similar feelings to now, but obviously the win last week was nice to see. The win, the two wins in last year, I didn't get to watch one of them. I was driving a monster truck during the Buffalo Bills games.
Okay.
It was a birthday present. It was fun. It was cool to watch. I was fortunate enough to get a ticket to the 2021 game at Tottenham, because obviously that was reduced capacity or whatever because of COVID and stuff. That was crazy hard to get a ticket for, but obviously that was Trevor's first win as well. And one of my friends in the States was super jealous because he spent a whole bunch of money to go to Houston and watch Trevor's first game as a Jaguar, and obviously they got blown out. And he got me the ticket, and it was we celebrated and stuff like that. And he's like, I hate you because you got to see the win and stuff. So
I'm going to ask you in a second about your prediction for the next game that the Jaguars play. But before that, I want to know about. I mean, you mentioned before that you were wearing a Blaine Gabbert jersey to the event all those years ago. Tell us about the other stuff you've got, even behind you, because I can see Fred Taylor. I don't know what it is behind you. Is it signed? Any of this?
All of them are signed. That's Fred Taylor, Mitchell, and Ness that
Nice.
I bought recently. Actually last year.
Did you get that signed? Was that last week? You got that signed?
No, it was last year. I got it signed. Last year and signed and framed up. That's a Baselli one that he signed at last year's party as well that I got framed up. And this one here is probably the pride and joy of the collection. It's a game-worn inaugural season Jimmy Smith jersey. Dude, and the story behind that, and it's all signed up on the chest and stuff like that. The story behind that was crazy because obviously Jimmy Smith had his his legal issues. This is way back, like I've had that like 10 years now. And some guy on Twitter posted like an eBay link or whatever saying, oh, this would be like really cool to own. And it was like game worn inaugural season jersey. And then Jimmy Smith actually like retweeted the tweet saying, whoever gets this, let me know. There's a tag on the inside and I can tell you what game it was worn in or what games it was from. Cause apparently they didn't have a lot of spare jerseys, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what's it called? The pound rate against the dollar was extremely strong at the time. So I had a little bit of money and I was like, I would like to buy it. And I bought it. And then I had to pay a ridiculous amount in import fees because when it came over, which was not pleasant, but I literally had it for like 10 minutes and then I instantly packaged it back up and I sent it to Jimmy Smith's home address in Mississippi because I said, would you sign it? And he was like, of course. So I was like, I've got it. He sent me his personal address on through DM message on Twitter and stuff. And then the cool thing is that when he sent it back, he wrote a handwritten note with it. I don't know where the letter's gone, but it was there when they did that Football Life episode where Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell. And he said it may be used in a shot, I'm not sure, and how like the fans and stuff like that helped with his rehab at the time and stuff like. And he said that it meant a lot that a guy who lived in England wants a jersey of mine, and so he signed it and then sent it back. And then obviously I finally got it framed up, and it takes pride of place in the center of my living room. So,
as it should. Look,
Very
quick.
cool.
I've just got a quick question on that. Was it washed before you got it?
Oh yeah, it was clean and stuff like that. I was kind of
Disappointing.
disappointed. I was hoping for it to like have all the grass stains on it and stuff, but
Just
like I
absolutely
said,
stink of sweat from
just
a long
Deep
time
clean your
ago.
lounge every day. It's
Yeah.
fine.
You got
No, but,
visitors
like-
coming in being like, oh, what is that? What is that smell?
bunch of magic Christmas trees are in there.
Yeah. Look, okay, last question for you. The Jaguars, they go to Philadelphia this weekend to face the Eagles. Me and Key are going to give our predictions in a little bit, but we have a fan do it every single week. What is your prediction? A score, please.
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a loss, and I think it's going to be something like 28-14, something like that. The Eagles and Saquon Barkley are going to run it down our throats. I'm not confident at all.
Well, at least we're ending with a bit of optimism. No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for joining us today on Tilt Talk, mate.
Appreciate it, stuff.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Cheers to Stoff. Cheers to Stoff for being so blunt with his question.
I mean, it's beautiful. Stoff's been around since day one, so I see Stoff all the time at all the. He's what would be referred to as a hardcore fan, so he's seen it all, highs and lows, and I get it, man.
He's not been there since day one. He's been there before day one.
Yeah, true.
You know, as he just told us the story, he was a Jags fan before the Jags had even played a first game. So that's kind of impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Key, let's move on to this weekend. The Jacksonville Jaguars in fact, they've got a real tough few games coming up, to be honest with you. The Philadelphia Eagles, the Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions, and then the Houston Texans. We'll focus on, obviously, the next game in Philadelphia. The Eagles, who are coming off of a win against the Bengals.
Yep.
This is going to be, no bones about it, this is going to be a tough game.
It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be super high scoring. I think, unless things change massively, I think our defense is going to struggle with, particularly for my money, with Jalen Hurts. But I also think if our offense is clicking, that this could be an absolute barn burner. It could be real high scoring.
Saquon, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith.
Yep.
It's a decent offense, to say the least, for the Philadelphia Eagles. My concern is, and we won't, touch on it too much because we've spoken about it before, but, we don't really know as it stands what the offense is going to look like this weekend. Like, literally. It's not like how are they going to play. We don't know what it's going to look like.
One thing we know is that WR1 is out for the season.
Yeah.
That much we know. Here's the other thing we know, Jay. We know that next man up works.
Well, it did at the end of the last game against the Packers, that's for sure. You know, and you know, we spoke to Parker Washington a bit about that as well. Travis Etienne coming back, quite like the idea. I mean, I always liked it from the first game of the season, but we've seen more of Tank Bigsby now. But Travis Etienne, he comes back. There's no way that Tank is not being incorporated in a big way, in some way. You want to have this double-headed monster in the backfield, and you want to be able to look at what the Lions did against Minnesota. Against Minnesota's actually a good example, really, I suppose. You know, what the Lions do, which is have Jahmyr Gibbs, they have David Montgomery as well, and they give them like a 50-50 split a lot of the time. You know, I don't know if that's going to happen with the Jaguars, but I am confident in saying that we're going to see more of Tank Bigsby than we did maybe in the first couple of weeks of the season.
As we should be. That is a double threat, and we should be using it more. It's simple as that for me. Those are two talented running backs. We should be utilising both of them all the time. And
this is the big one then. We've already heard from Stoff with his prediction, and we've got to give ours. We've got to give ours. Key, shall we go?
Yeah, I'll go first if you want, mate. I don't mind.
Oh, actually, before we do that, can I just point out that the current tally of the scores are I've got 3 points, you've got 2 points, and fans have got 2 points as well.
Okay, so far, me and the fans, is it if the Jags win, then we get a point?
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
What are you saying this week?
I'm going to go 34-31, Cam Little field goal to win it. But I'm also going to throw a wrinkle in there for you, mate.
Yeah.
300 plus combined yards on the ground between the two teams.
Oh, I literally thought you were going to say between Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne. I was like, come on, you're getting more ridiculous.
I'm not that ridiculous.
More and more ridiculous.
No, combined between the two teams, 300 plus yards on the ground. That's what I'm going with.
I'm really not sure about my prediction, to be honest with you, because I feel like this is...
Oh, you're going to do it, aren't you? You're going to go Eagles.
I might. It is really tough to see how the Eagles aren't favourites in this game. And do you know what? I feel like one drive, that last drive, isn't enough at the moment, is it? To be able to, I do really want to see a really, high scoring game. And I feel like it kind of is going to have to be honest. And that's what makes me slightly concerned, because it could be that the Eagles are, they dominate. Their offense dominate. Let's go with it might be another case of whoever has the ball last wins. We've seen that multiple times already this season. I think it happened in the Browns game.
And 2022.
Whoever has the ball last. Yeah. So it could be another one. It could be Eagles 24, Jags 21.
Oh. Okay,
no, devastating. I don't want it.
I get it.
I feel like that coming out of my mouth is feels slightly sick.
Can we get a new host?
Okay, I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Before we go,
yes.
Right. One thing.
Go.
2022, the Jags left the UK, losing to the Broncos. 2022, they were 2-6, and it was all of the fans saying, this is the end of the season. I am by no means saying the Jags now turn this around and make a playoff run. I'm not. All I'm saying is there is hope. There is positivity there, because it can happen. And not only can it happen, this team can do it. So let's not all be down about it all the time.
Can I get that as like an MP3, and I can just put that in my ears every time I'm feeling a bit down? Because that was good. You should be in that locker room.
With the theme music from Gladiator.
Yeah, exactly. You make a good point though, and it's the NFL, and you never know what can happen. So I think that we've ended that in a nice way. Cheers, Keith. Appreciate that. We'll be back next week. This has been a Shooting Sharp production for Jacksonville Jaguars UK and Ireland. Wherever you are listening, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And remember, we are on YouTube as well. We'll see you next week.